Alright, UFC 310 is just around the corner now. What does this mean? This means I'm going to do my breakdown. And by just around the corner, it is in 2 weeks, December 7th. If you don't know, this weekend's going to be September whatever, and then December 1st. So we got 2 weeks, basically, is my point. So I just wanted to do the breakdowns a little bit early. I really like this card. Card of the year, maybe. Could be, possibly. But no, I think this card's actually really good. I think there's going to be a lot of finishes. I think it's long. And I'm excited for the card, man. But yeah, let's get into my breakdown here. So, Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Lucas Bresky. Little disclaimer, I don't gamble. I don't bet. I don't put money on these fights. I'm not your financial advisor, you know? Disrespect my brother. No, I don't bet on these fights. I make all these picks, predictions based on pure passion for the sport. Been watching for a little bit. I love the sport. It is what it is. So take everything I say here with not betting advice, you know. But last card I went 8-4. Card before that I went 10-1. I think 11-1 or whatever it was. So I've been doing well. Anyways, let's get into the breakdown. Kennedy versus Lucas Bresky. I'm going with don't like that. I don't like that. I'm gonna go with Kennedy Nzechukwu by a fluke KO. Yeah. Now, I think Kennedy Nzechukwu does have some of the lowest IQ in the sport, but heavyweights that are unranked are dog shit. So, yeah, I think Kennedy Nzechukwu is going to eventually land on Lucas, and Lucas is just going to go down because that's how heavyweight works. Don't care about this fight at all. Moving on, we have Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. I actually think Chase Hooper is going to win by decision. Maybe that's a hot take. Clay Guida seems to be one of these exceptions with 42 years old and still just being tough as shit. We saw Clay Guida last fight. Was it Hakeem Silva? Yeah, Hakeem Silva. And then Hakeem Silva went on to go and wobble, what's his name? He wobbled Arman Sarukian pretty badly in the fight afterwards. But I think Chase Hooper is probably going to be able to get takedowns going. Maybe a submission. I don't really think a KO is going to happen. I know Chase Hooper's coming off a KO. But Clay Guida, I think, is still tough, you know? And I think he's still going to be a grinder. But I think Chase Hooper is just going to be just good enough everywhere to get it done. A little bit like a Hakeem Silva situation where he's just going to be slightly ahead everywhere. Probably more ahead than Hakeem. Maybe he gets a finish. I'm going Chase Hooper by decision. Imagine the odds for this fight are probably crazy. I also don't look at odds. Chase Hooper's probably minus 500 or more, I would say. 600 or more. Anyways, yeah. Going Chase Hooper. Respect Chase Hooper. And Clay Guida. I just think 42 years old, age has to hit you. Chase Hooper is taller. Wow, Clay Guida's got a reach to him, huh? Oh, Chase Hooper actually has a longer reach. Doesn't matter. Anyways, moving on. We have Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. This is arguably the worst fight in the whole card. Probably Michael Chiesa. As shitty as that sounds, they're kind of just giving him free layups. Chiesa probably by a back kick at some point, getting a rear naked. Max Griffin kind of just sucks. Not really good things about Max Griffin. You know, decision against Jeremiah Wells. Jeremiah Wells sucks. Losing to Michael Morales looks a little good now, but, you know, a little bit inactive. Losing to Neil Magny, you know, he beat Dirty Bird, I guess, but I don't rate that. I don't rate that anymore. It is what it is. I'm going with Michael Chiesa. I would be happy to see this one done wrong, but I just think Michael Chiesa actually does have jiu-jitsu. I think Max Griffin doesn't have jiu-jitsu anymore. At 38 years old. Anyways, moving on with Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. This one is an interesting one because Joshua Van did just get knocked out, but he got knocked out to, or no. What am I saying? He didn't get knocked out. Yes, he did get knocked out by Charles Johnson. I rate that loss. I think Charles Johnson's really good. Some people don't like Charles Johnson. I like Charles Johnson. Beating Edgar Chavez, a lot of people had Edgar in this fight, and Joshua Van just was better everywhere. Edgar Chavez, arguably still a decent contender. I don't think Cody Durden's got it. I think Joshua Fan's just going to be too fast. And I think that's going to be the difference here. It's going to be speed on the feet. Joshua Fan's probably going to land a little too much. Eventually getting a TKO. Probably round 2, I would wager. But, yeah, Joshua Fan by finish in one of the rounds. Probably round 2 would be my prediction. I just think he's going to be too fast. Cody Durden isn't the fastest dude. He does have the height and reach advantage. Who doesn't against Joshua Fan? I think Joshua Fan's going to feel just at home. Cody Durden's probably going to try to get wrestling going. But I think Joshua Van's going to be not experienced enough, but I think he's going to know what to do. Because Cody Durden's takedowns and everything aren't like high-level grappling. It's kind of like mid-tier grappling. So I think Joshua Van's going to be smart enough to get it done. Moving on, we have Eye Poke King, Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. This is my same prediction as the last fight before it got canceled. Eric Anders pulled out for some reason. I'm going Chris Weidman by decision. He's got the advantage of if he cheats, no one's going to care. He's got the advantage of reach. He's got the advantage of height. He's got the advantage of championship level experience. Eric Anders made a close decision with Jamie Pickett. Not really much else to say. Eric Anders, some people call him a freak athlete. Like, I'm sure Angela will probably call him a freak athlete from We Want Picks. Let's just be honest, he sucks. He's not a freak athlete. He just shoots sloppy takedowns. And he gets close decisions with Jamie Pickett. In 2024. Yikes. Anyways, we move on to the prelims. Now, this is where we're cooking. This is where we're cooking. Oh my god. Nick Diaz Vicente Luque canceled again. Fuck, man. Just cut Nick Diaz at this point. Jesus. Anyways. Bryan Battle, Randy Brown. I'm going with Bryan Battle, first round KO. Randy Brown does not have a great chin. He is older. Bryan Battle's in prime. Bryan Battle's looking sick out there. Randy Brown's best win so far, I guess, might be Alizé dos Santos, but like, he's picked up a few wins. He's getting submitted by JDM. You can see Bryan Battle by submission. I don't know. I sense a chinning from Randy Brown. Randy Brown's always struck me as a guy who like gets chinned very easily. I think Bryan Battle's going to showcase that. So I think Randy Brown gets chinned. I think Bryan Battle gets a first round finish, either submission or knockout. I'm going with a knockout. I do think Bryan Battle will be the next future champion. Calling it 2026 or 2027 is what it is. Probably 2026. But yeah, moving on, we have Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. If you don't know, Bryan Battle is one of my favorites. I completely have a bias take there right now in the current UFC. Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. I'm going with Aljamain Sterling. I think he's just a higher level grappler. I don't think Movsar is that good. Just saying that. I think Arnold Allen arguably got robbed a TKO. I know Movsar had his hand on the ground, but it had to be a weight-bearing hand. That was not a weight-bearing hand. I think Arnold Allen got robbed of that KO. I think Arnold Allen was looking good on the feet against Movsar. Arguably won that fight, even though he did get robbed of that TKO. I think Aljamain doesn't have the best striking, but I think it's slightly better than Movsar, and I think his grappling is more effective than Movsar. Like, if Aljamain gets the back, you actually have to worry about a submission. If Movsar gets the back, you just gotta worry about the time going down. I don't know, Movsar just doesn't really get a lot of finishes, man. He's not that good. He really just isn't. You know, decision with Diego Lopez, and then he's had one fight since then. Like, brother. Fighting once a year? I don't like that. Even Aljamain's more active than that. I don't like Aljamain poop stain, but it is what it is. I'm going Aljamain. I think Aljamain's probably going to win this by decision. It is Movsar Aljamain. It will be a boring-ass fight. But yeah, I'm going Aljamain. I think Aljamain gets it done. I think Movsar sucks. I think Aljamain gets it done. Likely by decision. Going with 30-27. Probably a 29-28 scorecard that's unjustified. but I think a 30-27 from Aljamain. Aljamain, at the end of the day, still on paper, is the best bantamweight. On paper, best bantamweight champion. But Vicente Luque versus Temba Gorimbo. So this is Temba on short notice. Now, I am going to go with Temba, only because Vicente Luque, in his last fight, literally looked like he had brain damage and didn't know what a takedown was, nor what anything other than putting a guard on your fucking forehead was. He pulled guard, and then Joaquin Buckley just kept on throwing strikes. Vicente Luque had the opportunity to literally push Joaquin Buckley off. Vicente Luque decided not to. Temba's got a longer reach, similar ages. Temba's taller. Temba's got good grappling. I'm going with Temba Gorimbo. I think Temba Gorimbo probably gets it done via a finish. Just because Vicente Luque in his last fight literally looked like his brain was mush. I literally don't know. Like, Vicente Luque last fight, if you were to tell me the UFC is rigged and showed me that fight, I'd be like, yeah, you're totally right. There's, like, almost no reason why someone of Vicente Luque's ranking stature would ever just sit there, pull guard, lay on bottom, and just, don't hurt me. And he kind of just did that for, what, like, 2 minutes until they called the fight? Terrible performance from Vicente Luque. I don't even remember if he landed fucking more than one strike in that fight. But yeah, I'm going with Temba Gorimbo. I think Temba gets it done. Probably by finish. Temba's looking like he's got some heavy hands, kinda. And Temba's looking like he's got some dominant grapples. So, going with Temba Gorimbo. Moving on, we have Dominic Reyes, Anthony Smith. I'm going with Dominic Reyes, late finish. I think Dominic Reyes is going to respect Anthony Smith and not try to, like, do anything crazy in the first or second round. But I think Dominic Reyes is going to make it close, probably in the second round, make it dominant in the first round. Like, I could see Smith being wobbled a few times and Reyes just not going for it. I think in the third round, Dominic Reyes is going to realize Anthony Smith fucking sucks. And then he's just going to go for a finish. Either by leg kicks, because Anthony Smith has no calves, or he's going to try to go for a chinning of Anthony Smith. You got to be the great Khalil Roundtree to get a third round TKO on Smith. But yeah, I'm going with Dominic Reyes. I think this is a nice free layup for Dominic Reyes. This is justice for getting robbed by John Jones. Moving on, we have the main card. This is where we're cooking. Nate the Train, baby, coming off his first TKO win against Jamal Emmers. A dude who I think hasn't lost in the UFC. Can't remember exactly. But a lot of people pick Jamal Emmers. Nate Landwehr, obviously the next bantamweight or featherweight GOAT. Yeah, I'm going with Nate the Train. Now, I don't think Choi Do-Hoo is actually going to be that bad of a loss if Nate the Train gets chinned. Because Choi did just knock out Bill Algeo, and I think Bill Algeo's not a bad loss. But this Kyle Nelson draw is really what pisses me off. Kyle Nelson's Canadian. Now, I'm Canadian, and he's inactive as fuck. I don't like that. I really don't like this. Like, he lost to a Canadian before. Charles Jourdain is king, is what it is. But then you're making a draw against Kyle Nelson? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Is this featherweight? This is featherweight, Charles. Yeah, I'm going with Nate the Train. I think this Bill Algeo fight was just a case where I think Bill Algeo, I think it was like his cheekbone broke or whatever it was. Couldn't really predict it. Is what it is. Or was that the fight where Bill Algeo was like wobbling? No, that wasn't where... Oh, fuck. Now I don't know. Either way, I think Bill Algeo kind of just, like, it was bad circumstances and the TKO was called. However, let's get to the fights here. I think Nate Landwehr actually is looking good right now. And 36 just might be Nate Landwehr's prime. Who knows? We might be looking at the future Nate Landwehr here. Nate Landwehr also has a reach advantage. Doesn't have the height advantage. Kind of like that because it means he's going to be ducking down overhand rights could finish Choi Do-ho, as Choi Do-ho, even younger, has been knocked out by Canadians. Draw to Kyler Nelson, fucking whatever not Kyler Phillips. I think it is Kyle Nelson. The other dog shit Canadian with no chin. I don't like that, man. So I think Nate Landwehr gets it done, and I think he actually gets it done by finish. I'm going with a double TKO for Nate the Train, baby. Choo choo, motherfucker. But yeah, I'm picking Nate Landwehr. I think it'll be a sick fight. I think someone gets finished. But I'm going with Nate Landwehr. I'm on Nate Landwehr's side. Holy shit, I needed more sleep today. Anyways, we have Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. I'm going with Bryce Mitchell. Kron Gracie is just a butt scooter. That's all he is. I think his last fight, he literally, yeah. Wow, that fight was close. Ooh. I guess not really. Significant strikes. For some reason, I remember Kron Gracie doing nothing in that fight. Huh. Memory might be a little off. No, I'm going with Bryce Mitchell, though. Bryce Mitchell is at least fighting high-level comp. He is coming off that absolute destruction where he nearly died to Josh Emmett. Is what it is. Josh Emmett has some of the heaviest hands in featherweight. I just think Bryce Mitchell is a different level of grappling. Got that Arkansas wrestling. And I think Kron Gracie at the end of the day is a submission fucking merchant. He's a BJJ merchant. And I don't think Bryce Mitchell's got bad scrambles, you know? He was out-scrambling Ilya Taporia in some instances. I like to see that. So I'm going with Bryce Mitchell. I reckon Bryce Mitchell probably by decision. I could see it. Bryce Mitchell by decision. Not sure why Kron Gracie's getting a jump up so soon, even though Bryce Mitchell literally lost to top 5 featherweight right now in Josh Emmett. A little bit weird. Is what it is. Moving on, Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. I'm going with Volkov by decision. The reason why, okay, Cyril Gane might be one of the most overrated heavyweights. Cyril Gane does look like a legit heavyweight. Not taking that away from him. Cyril Gane has some of the fastest boxing in heavyweight. Or kickboxing, however you want to say it. And heavyweight. That's okay. It is what it is. Cyril Gane got out-wrestled by Francis Ngannou on one leg. Beat Sergey Spivak. Sergey Spivak does not do research on fights. Ducking Tom Aspinall. Don't like that either. We were in a world... Let's just take us back to 2022. We were in a world where if Cyril Gane doesn't land back of the head shots to knock down Tai Tuivasa in the 3rd round, Tai Tuivasa wins by decision. I know the strikes are going to look like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Tai Tuivasa knocked him down in the 1st round, did more damage, or it might have been... It was either the 1st or 2nd round, and then he outlanded him in the other round. Regardless, I think Tai Tuivasa was up on scorecards. At least I had him up on scorecards. We were in a world where it would have been Tai Tuivasa versus Jon Jones for the heavyweight belt. That's who Cyril Gane got his title shot off of. Then, before that, he gets out-wrestled by Francis on one leg. Before that, he beats Derek fucking Lewis. Congrats. He's beaten Volkov before in a 5-rounder. Close. But I think Volkov has reached a new prime. I do think Volkov is looking really good now. And that was in 2021. I think Volkov has, evolved immensely since that fight. So I'm going with Volkov by decision. Not only because it'll be healthier for heavyweight if Volkov wins, because then we can just ignore Cyril Gane. We can say Cyril Gane's overrated as fuck. We can say Cyril Gane sucks. And then we can say Jon Jones sucks by extension because Jon Jones finished a bum, got out-wrestled by Francis Ngannou on one leg. Now, am I worried Volkov might get chinned? Kind of, but not really. In the first fight, Volkov didn't even get knocked down in 5 rounds. Considering this is 3 rounds, I think Volkov takes it. It was close the first time. Volkov looks like he's getting better. I know he's getting older, but it looks like he's just getting better. People forget, man, he is also tall as shit. He's 6'7", by the way, and his reach is kind of insane. Even though Cyril Gane actually has a longer reach, that's kind of crazy. Volkov is also looking dynamic. His grappling looks to be a much higher level. I think he will utilize it in this round. I reckon we see Volkov kind of get some good takedowns on Cyril Gane in one of these rounds, and then the other rounds he just outpoints Cyril Gane. I think he knows what to do. Cyril Gane's kind of a back-of-the-head merchant. He relies on getting a dirty blow. You know, back-of-the-head fucking hammer fist, knocks down Taito Ivasa. Back-of-the-head strike, knocks down Derek Lewis. You know, I think he's just a back-of-the-head merchant. I think Volkov's going to win this. I think he's going to make it look dominant. I'm a little worried, though. I'm going to lie, a little worried here. A little worried. Because if Cyril Gane does win, then we have to see Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall, and I just don't want to see it. I'd rather see Volkov Aspinall too, just because I think it'll be more interesting. Going with Volkov by decision. Moving on, we have Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Gary. Arguably better than Belal Shavkat. Am I wrong there? Am I wrong? I think this is a more entertaining fight, because we get to see someone lose their O, we get to see a definitive #1 contender, who's not coming off a Wonder Boy or an old Gilbert Burns win. I like this. I actually really like this fight. This is short notice for Ian Gary, I believe, technically speaking. I think Shavkat is going to still finish him. Ian Gary is vegan, guys. He is soy. He's getting held up against the cage against fucking Jeff Neal, you know? MVP arguably won that fight. Ian Gary really didn't do anything in the third round. MVP landed more strikes. I know it was a little strikes, but, you know, arguably they wobbled Ian Gary. Ian Gary's also delusional, thinking he wobbled MVP. MVP's old. You should have been able to wobble MVP if you're not a good striker, but a dangerous striker. If you're not wobbling MVP in 3 rounds, I don't think you're wobbling Shavkat in 3 rounds. People say Shavkat's overrated. I understand that. I respect that opinion. But Shavkat is better rated, in my opinion, than fucking Ian Gary. Ian Gary got gifted a split win against MVP. Ian Gary got a split win against Jeff Neal. Where if Jeff Neal had 2 brain cells and he decided to knee to the thigh, he probably wins that fight. He had Ian Gary against the cage for 3 minutes for 2 rounds. He didn't throw 1 strike that entire time. Just saying, he's 1 strike away from winning that round every time, and it's a split. I think it was a split decision, actually. So, yeah, 2 29-28s. I know Shavkat's not getting that in his career. He is submitting Wonder Boy. He is finishing Jeff Neal. I think the Jeff Neal performance is really like where we're thinking here, where we compare the fighters, because Shavkat finishes Jeff Neal by 6 submission. Ian Gary makes Jeff Neal look like he should retire because he looks old. That's kind of like what we're looking at here. And he's making Ian Gary look like shit. Like, Ian Gary makes Ian Gary look like shit. Also, he's just randomly pulling guard in round 2. There's talks that apparently Shavkat might have been the guy to knock out Ian Gary in sparring. There's a lot of reasons to pick Shavkat here. I'm going Shavkat. I believe he's the favorite, as he should be. I think Shavkat actually does get this finish. Some people are thinking this might be a decision. While I respect that, I do think Shavkat is the type of dude to literally just run into gunfire like a Tony Ferguson. Like, he will just stand your base. He will just stand his base and then just charge in, hoping he knocks your ass out. As he did with Jeff Neal. Ian Gary, I don't think is going to be able to put Shavkat away. Ian Gary also has shorter reach. He is taller, not by much. Wow, his reach is so shit for his height, huh? But yeah, Shavkat in prime. I think Shavkat will beat Ian Gary. I think Ian Gary will go back to the gulag. But yeah, I pray no one pulls out. I'm hoping Shavkat wins. If Ian Gary wins, I might pick Ian Gary versus Belal. Huh, wild take. Anyways, yeah, I think that fight's interesting. Moving on, Pantoja versus Kaya Sakura. I know why people are picking Kaya Sakura. I know people want Kaya Sakura to win for the health of flyweight. I think Pantoja wins by decision. I think it's a 5-round decision. Actually, take that back. I think Pantoja wins by round 3, round 4 submission. I just think Pantojan's got really dominant grappling. Kaya Sakura doesn't really deal with a lot of grapplers. Kaya Sakura deals with a lot of strikers, and a lot of his methods are stomps, you know? Soccer kicks to grounded opponents, you know? You're not really going to get the opportunity to do that in the UFC. It's just not really a thing. Pantoja probably will just shoot for takedowns and get Kaya Sakura down, and then Kaya Sakura's got to deal with Pantoja on his back. Yeah. You know, I get why they're doing this fight. I don't mind this fight at all. Flyweight is kind of boring. This is the first time Kaya Sakura's got to make weight as well at 125. A little worried about that. So I'm going with Pantoja. I think Pantoja wins. I think it's a dominant grappling decision. And I think that's my picks and predictions for 310. I don't gamble. I don't bet. You know, take all these with what you will. However, I've been doing really well recently. I'm kind of on a heater, not gonna lie. I did really well in this card. I think I went 8-4, 11-1, or it was 10-1. Yeah, 10-1. Then I went. I think this fight I went 7-4. Maybe I even did better. No, I think I went 7-4. Yeah, 7-4. This fight I don't remember. Don't care. This one I went. Pretty bad on picks. But yeah, I've been on a heater recently. But yeah, I'm excited for 310. Hope you guys are too. I make all these picks and predictions based off pure passion for the sport. That being said, I want to thank you for watching, making it to the end of this video. I daily upload, I daily stream. Come check out either or. And yeah, you're welcome if you disagree. Just saying, you better bring up a good argument. Type shit. But that being said, thank you for watching. As always, I hope you have a good day.